So we got Salt. Salt is we'll just call this Grand Champ 1, Grand Champ 2. I think we're a little too fake heavy in this replay so far. We're just kind of faking everything to start this. I mean, I would call it we're just having a hard time getting into the play, but good. Yeah, I feel like we're over faking, over controlling. We like we haven't gotten to a game pace yet, like where you're flowing, and you just like that needs to be priority number 1 before we start faking and controlling. Like we just need to get in there. Get in there, challenge. I mean, obviously the game's a little bit sloppy, but I almost want to see you start a game aggressive. So before you like get into your, cheeky fakes and control plays, and it's very good. Yeah, like we're just having a hard time challenging. But I think it's because like you're just trying to be defensive every single time. And I still like that's a good control play, but I still feel like we're over controlling. I like that challenge. That's good. Like I just kind of want to see more of that. Like maybe try to adapt a workflow, Salt, where you start a game and priority number 1 is get your first challenge, get your first demo, get into a game pace. Those are like the priorities, like pacing before you look for fakes and control. Like I feel like it's taken us way too long to kind of get into this game and add impact. You kind of started off extremely defensive, whereas I would like to see you start off normal. And then as the game progresses, make that adjustment of whether you want to be defensive or not. Because, like, now we're being aggressive, now we're being mechanical, and it's like, I kind of want to cut that time down to where now we're challenging, right? Like, the past, like, 30, 40 seconds, like, I kind of wanted to see you start the game like this. And I feel like you didn't start the game like this because you defaulted to the defense. And I'd rather see you default to this. And then based on, like, maybe you're like, oh, I should fake more. Or I should just keep doing this. Then you just keep doing it. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of like a mentality. I just don't feel like I need to like pick apart gameplay elements as to why we didn't start the game like that. It really looked like you were just making very passive and defensive decisions. And as seen with the last like minute and a half, everything we've done that is producing results is stemming from aggression. Now you add in a fake, and like that's kind of like the workflow. Now you're playing 50s, now you're playing a fake. It's a good bump play. I don't know if that makes sense, Salt. It's more of like mental advice over everything, but it's shifting the priority to where you want to get into the game as quickly as possible before you try to outsmart the opponents. Because you don't even know how these people play yet. Or at least that's the mentality I want you to have, because like maybe like you're in your league match and you do know how this team plays, but they might not play how they play starting the game. Like just spend like the first 30 seconds to a minute, get your first challenge, focus your boost management, focus your pacing, get your first demo, and then then add in the 50s and the fakes and the, you know, the more smart stuff. Just kind of shift those priorities around. If you could like make that a baseline for like every game where you spend the first minute like that, I think that would like drastically improve gameplay. So, simply put, start a game, first 30 seconds to a minute, get your first demo, focus your boost management, focus your game pacing, get your first challenge, play for cuts, play for egos, like kind of just like a default aggressive play style. And then based on the information you get from that, whether it's working or not, then switch to a fake. Then switch to a 50 or a defensive play. Default to the aggression and then rework it. That's where I'd leave this. I really think it's rooted in decision making. We had a slow start. We didn't have impact. It picked up. Let's try to have that pick up, that impact early game. It's kind of like you want to set the tone. You want to set the pace.